everybody, it's Amy and you have found Amy Loves Crochet. Thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate you clicking on my video. I'd love to share my tips and tricks, my little journey through my crochet life. I generally post videos with content that's something that I previously searched for myself and didn't find an answer to, so I'm just going to create the content myself because somebody out there has got to have the same question or have the same yarn and not know what to do with it, or been looking for something new to do. You know, a lot of times everybody's kind of working on the same thing. You see the same stuff all coming out at once. Everybody wants to try what's newest and greatest, but I try to look for things that are a little bit older, patterns that are a little bit older, and kind of resurrect some goodies. So if you like that kind of content, please consider clicking the subscribe button. I just enjoy my time here. I like to laugh. I feel like I'm chit-chatting with my friends over crocheting and stuff, so I'd enjoy it if you came along. I've got for you today a little tutorial. I worked out of it, out of my book, my Crochet One Skein Wonders, and they've got quite a few different themed books. This one is just from crocheters around the world. They've got a book that's about baby stuff. They've got books that are about lacy or bulky, that kind of thing. This one's got a nice array of different, see all the different colors here along the spine or the edging of the book. You've got everything from lace weight to bulky weight yarn patterns. So I've worked out of it quite a bit. If you haven't seen my other videos on that, go ahead and check out my playlists and see if there's something on there that looks enjoyable to you. And so today it's called the 3-round scarf. My dogs are barking, let me go grab them. As I was saying, this scarf is called the 3-round scarf, and it's a great pattern because you can kind of decide. A lot of the scarves that I like to do, I start on the short end so I can decide how long it's going to be based on what yarn I have. This one, you've got to commit to the length at first because you're doing a chain for the width of it, or the length of it here. So if you've ever made baby shoes or baskets where you make a chain and then you work one side of the chain and then round and work the bottom side of the chain, that's what we're going to do. So the first yarn that I picked up to do this, now it is in the worsted weight, if I'm not mistaken. Burp, burp, burp. Yeah. And so the first yarn that I picked up to use was some alpaca yarn that I got from this great little alpaca stand at a consignment store. There were 2 hanks of it, and it was just very exciting to me. Like, I wasn't sure, did I want to buy it? Did I not want to buy it? Did I know what to do with it? And so I don't want to pull this out too far, but it says here that it's DK weight, and it is 70% US alpaca and 30% US merino. So it's really, really, really pretty with all the purples and the pinks and the twisting of the yarn strand. I really enjoy that in a yarn. And so I first had worked with this yarn in a pattern from this book that was in the bulky section. And let me see if I can't find that page real quick. And it was very easy to make the hat. I enjoyed making it. And when I, whoops, went too far. And so when I was working on it, when I was going to work on it, I think it looks so much better on her than it does on me. Check that out. Look how cute. I totally love it on her. All right, I love it still. It's called the Quinby hat, and they made it with alpaca and acrylic, so I thought, I'm right up that alley there. And so this was mine. You can see it starts with a spiral, like on the crown, and then you work in strips. So it was kind of a different workup for me, and I was very interested because this DK is very thick, and I'll show you here in a minute, held up to my worsted that I worked on. It's almost bigger than the worsted. So I thought it was okay to work into the bulky section with this yarn. And just in the beginning, I mean, I still felt unsure about it because it was in the beginning when I stepped out of my worsted weight comfort zone for the first time. I'm talking with my hands too much. And so I thought this was a really cute hat. I like the little brim. I don't normally make hats with little brims like that, but I really, really liked it and was surprised that I got a bulky pattern to work with what's labeled as a DK, but I think is really worsted. So when I picked it up to work on this, I thought it was just so pretty. And as you can see, you just do rounds. You've got shells here that are on top of each other, and then the final round you do a picot in the center. So you can really make it as long as you want. Now, this one I made with 150 chains, and it is about 5 inches wide and 52 inches long. But then I picked up this skein that I had purchased on, it was my birthday trip. We were traveling, and we traveled, and so it's kind of an exciting little yarn stop for me. And the yarn is called Queen, so I thought that was apropos for my birthday yarn. And what's funny is that, look how cute. Now it started just as a regular hank of yarn, and I just caked it up, you know, like you do. And then I put the band happens to fit on it like it's a little mini skein, like a little sheep cheese, however you say that, little mini skein. So I thought that was really funny. But this is the worsted weight in comparison to this DK. Oh, there it goes. See how they're like the same if the DK isn't even bigger? So, you know, you can't always look at the label and tell what your project is going to end up like, because sometimes they're just not labeled what you think they are in the weight. So anyway, so after I did this scarf, I thought it was so gorgeous and everything. And you know me with my variegated yarns, how much I love a variegated yarn, but do you lose part of the pattern because it's variegated colors? So I thought, oh, I'm gonna go grab that maroon skein, that maroon hank called Queen. And I thought it was a whole lot more saturated maroon color than this. And look how pretty with all the different highs and lows of the color, the maroon color. And then you can see sections here where this yellow pops through. See how it's really super yellow. I love it. And it was a nice surprise as I was working it up. See, here's some more. And little just speckles here and there. I just love it. So this one I made a little bit longer. And I did use, I used the same hook for both of them. Oh, before I forget, this hat I made in August of last year. So it's been over a year since I made it. And it is one of the things that I kept on my shelf for myself. And I didn't donate, give away, sell, whatever. And so with our kitchen remodel, I had to clear off that shelf of things that I actually was keeping. And this happened to be in that pile. And so I was like, oh, I'm about to do a video with that. Okay, so I did use a, where's my page? 3-round scarf, a 5.5 millimeter eye hook for both hats, or both scarves. And so, like I said, this one was 150 chains, and it measures 52 by 5 inches wide, 52 long by 5 wide, obviously. And this one I chained 200. So I made it, I thought I was making it a lot bigger, and it's a little bit skinnier. It's a little bit more narrow. So it's only about 4 3/4 inches wide. Whereas the DK weight that's supposed to be, you know, DK versus, let me slip this over here. You know, here's our edge on this side. This is the DK weight, and this is the worsted. All right, if you say so. But this one is 64 inches long. And so I think that was a little bit better length for what I would enjoy anyway. It wasn't quite as tall. I felt a little bit tall on the other one, but whoops, I'm twisted up here. There we go. I mismatched. I look funny, but whatever. I look funny whether I got stuff on or not. But so yeah, so look how pretty. I love those little picos. They're so cute. I thought this was a really, really fun little pattern, and it worked up super quick. Look, it's more of that yellow. Pop, pop, pop. I love it. So yeah, it was really, really fun. They worked up super quick, and I just knew that this was going to be a great tutorial for you guys because it was so easy to do. So let's take a look. For this pattern, you can use any yarn you'd like with a corresponding hook size. Grab our standard tools of the trade, and let's get started. So the pattern is worked in a multiple of 5, and we are again working the length of our scarf here. You do gain a little bit of length in how many rows you do, how many rounds you do. This is a 3-round scarf, but you could make it as many rounds as you'd like. So go ahead and chain out a multiple of 5 that is the width of the scarf that you'd like. So once you have your multiple of 5 chained out, we're going to add 4 more stitches, or 4 more chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in that 4th chain from the hook, we're going to do a double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Into the 4th, we're going to do a double crochet. And then we're going to do a chain 1 and 2 more double crochets into that same chain, into that same spot. So what we've got is our first shell here, and our shell is going to be 2 double crochets, a chain 1, and 2 double crochets. So I like to go ahead and mark that first, what would be the first double crochet, which is your chain 3, your 3rd chain. And when we come back around, we're going to put some more double crochets, chain 1 double crochets into this spot so that this equals what we're going to do at the other end here in a moment. So once you've got your first shell there, we're going to skip 4 chains. So you can see here where we're working out of. 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 4. And in that 5th one, we're going to do a shell. So our shells consist of 2 double crochets, a chain 1, and 2 double crochets. Oops. All right, we're going to continue that all the way down the length of your row. So skip 4 and into the 5th, do a shell. Oops. So that shell is going to be 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then 2 double crochets right into that same spot. And continue that all the way down until you reach the end of your row. And we're going to skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And in that very first chain, that very first spot, we're going to do a big end piece that's a bunch of double crochets. And as you fill them in, your work is going to automatically turn this way. And then you'll be working in the backs on that side of the row. So go ahead and skip those 4, and into that last one, we are going to do 2 double crochets. Oops. A chain 1. We're going to do that 4 times. 2 double crochets, a chain 1. Oops. Excuse me, my yarn. 2 double crochets, chain 1, and we've got one more. 2 double crochets and a chain 1. So let's double count. We've got 1, 2 with a chain, 1, 2 with a chain, 1, 2 with a chain, 1, 2 with a chain. So I've got my 4 sets of 2 double crochets plus a chain 1, and now we're going to end it with 2 more double crochets in that same spot. Your starting string here, your starting yarn, can seem to get in the way, and you can just work that in whenever you feel the need to do that so that it stays out of your way. See, mine keeps trying to poke back through the hole here. I'm going to tie that guy down there in a minute. Okay, so this is what the end of your row should look like with your 4 sets of 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then you're going to end on a 2 double crochet. So you've got those 5 sets of 2s with the chain in between. So now this part's easy because your map is already there. So you're just going to jump right on over to the shell that you already did here, and right on top we're going to do a shell on every single one. You don't chain anything in between the shells. Whoops. So just go ahead into the bottom of that shell and do another shell. So 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. And you're going to work that all the way down your row. So there's your 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Continue working that all the way down your row, and I will meet you where we started here. So here's 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then 2 more double crochets. So when you do get down to the end here, we're going to want our ends to match. So what we need is 5 sets of 2 double crochets with a chain 1 in between. We've already got these 2. So start right into here where we did the other ones. That's the base of that shell chain. We're going to start with 2 double crochets and a chain 1. We're going to do that 3 times. So there's 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and here is my third set of 2 double crochets and then a chain 1, because the chain 3 and your first double crochet, that's your first set of 2. So when we slip stitch to this third chain here, get in there, and you can remove your stitch marker, then your 2 ends match each other with 5 sets of 2 double crochets and a chain 1 in between each one. So now we're ready to start row number 2. So you slip stitch to the top of the third to end round 1. We're going to slip into the next double crochet and then slip into that space. We always want to start in the spaces. So we're going to start the next row by completing a shell. That's by doing a chain 3, and then we're going to double crochet into the same spot, and then we're going to do a chain 1 and 2 more double crochets right into that same space. So now we've got the first shell from round 2, and you're going to complete that all the way around. In every single space here, we're working into that chain 1 space, not in between the shells, but in between the sets of 2 double crochets right here on each one. All the way around, you're going to put in a full shell. 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets in the same spot on the top of each shell. And then when you get down to the end, I'll meet you down here, but we're going to do the same thing. Into each one of these chain 1 spaces, you're going to do a full shell. All right? So go ahead and work down the length of your piece, and I'll meet you down here at the end. So now when we reach our end, it might be a little bit confusing because it doesn't look like a shell on a shell because it's getting extra. We need to increase so that we can go around the corner. So that's why doing a full shell in each of these gives you that increase that you need. So from here, we're going to go ahead into each one of these chain 1 spaces and do a full shell. That's 2 double crochets, whoops, chain 1, 2 double crochets, okay, and then we're going to jump right on over to the next chain 1 space and do a full shell, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. All right, see how it's coming up and around because we're increasing. So then you're going to do a full shell into the chain 1 space here. Oops. Chain 1, 2 double crochets, and then last one on the round, going all the way around, chain 1 and 2 double crochets. So there's your end piece, and you can see you're going to have another, you've got the 4 full shells here, and then going down the row you're going to have again a shell on top of each shell. So go ahead and just continue that on around, and I'll meet you at the other end. 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. We're going to do that on the top of each one. Oops. There we go. Now we're back around at the end, and we've got to get a full shell put into each one of these chain 1 spaces. We've got 3 of those to do. So jump right on over there put in your 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, oops, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. And then we've got one more here. Don't lose sight of it. We've got 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. So there we go. So we're just going to come over and we're going to slip stitch to the 3rd chain, which is technically, or considered the first double crochet of that round. Oops. And you are done with round 2. Hopefully yours is a little bit longer than mine. Right, so here's what we're looking like. You've got rounded edges here, and then kind of a scallopy look of each shell on top of each shell all the way along. So what we're going to do is start round 3 by slip stitching into that double crochet as we have been to scoot over, and then one more time down slip stitch into that chain space, and then we're going to do a chain 3 for our first double crochet. We're going to do a double crochet into that space, so we've got our 2 double crochets, and then here's where it's a little bit different. So instead of a chain 1 here, you're going to do a chain 3 and then slip stitch into that first chain. There we go. And then you're just going to continue to do your 2 double crochets to finish this shell as you have been. So here's where we've got the only difference in what we've been doing is a little picot there instead of a chain 1. So here we are at the next shell. We're going to do the same thing all the way around. 2 double crochets, a chain 3, and then slip stitch right into that first chain. And do your 2 more double crochets to finish off your shell. Okay. And you don't have to do this if you don't want to. Amy doesn't like picots very much within the work, but along the edging of the work, they sure can look cute. So go ahead and continue your entire pattern. You're going to, do your shell on top of shell by doing 2 double crochets separated with a picot, which is 3 chains. Slip stitch into the first chain. And then do your 2 more double crochets into that same space. And you're creating picot shells now. Yay! I thought this was a really cute little pattern and it worked up very quickly. You can make it any length you want. You can use any yarn you want. Just make sure to use that corresponding hook size that goes with it. This isn't one of those patterns that you need to go up a hook size to make it extra lacy drapey unless you want to. Just your standard yarn matching hook size worked for me. Okay, I could continue going, but it gets a little bit boring to show the same stitch over and over. There is no difference in the stitch from here until the end. So continue your shell work all the way back around to the beginning. One more picot here I'll show you. And whoops, I dropped it again. All right, there we go. All righty, so I will meet you back around at the end. So I've made it all the way back around. Our first shell, we're going to find that chain 3, that top of that chain 3, and we're going to slip stitch to join. And then that's it. We're just going to tie off and we're done. So I hope you enjoyed following along with that. If you did, it's a fun little pattern, fun little scarf. I think it turns out really, really pretty, either in a solid color or if you've got one that isn't quite as saturated as I thought mine was, or even to work it up in a variegated. It can really give you a very nice looking item. All right, guys, thanks for sitting with me today. Hope you enjoyed it. All right, guys, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sitting with me. I do hope that you enjoyed the tutorial, that you're going to give it a shot. If you do, let us know. Leave a comment if you tried the pattern. If you're a member of our Facebook page, you can always post a picture there. Or if you would like to, send me an email and I'll post the picture for you. So have a wonderfully blessed day. Please come back and see me again. Thanks. Bye-bye.